So, meine Süßen, herzlich willkommen zurück zu Divinity, einem neuesten Part. Immer noch in Scythiel. Wir sind ja immer noch dabei, unseren Ramsch zu verkaufen, den wir jetzt im Kampf mit Rex ergattert haben. Obwohl wir nicht alles verkaufen sollten, weil ein bisschen war ja eigentlich auch noch relativ gut. Obwohl, haben wir schon? Haben wir das schon verkauft? Anscheinend schon, ne? Doch, dann müssten wir noch machen. Nee, ich habe mir vorgenommen, dass wir jetzt erstmal... Alter. Dass wir jetzt, nachdem wir hier uns ein bisschen ausgerüstet haben, erstmal wieder zur Legion gehen und da diese Aufgabe abschließen, dass wir Rex erledigt haben. Und dass wir dann vielleicht ein bisschen in Silbertal leveln, um uns dann in diesem Schneegebiet da zu behaupten und den Wölfen eins reinzudrücken. Weil im Moment ist das ja noch ein bisschen schwer. Und da habe ich im Moment eigentlich noch nicht so wirklich Lust drauf, weil das noch relativ schwer ist. Und das muss ja nicht sein. Dass wir uns da einen abackern für nichts. Wir haben ja auch schon bald wieder ein Level Up, wie man hier sieht. Obwohl es eigentlich relativ lange noch dauert, aber werden wir schon hinkriegen. So, jetzt haben wir hier erstmal ein paar Resistenzen. Was ich jetzt auch nicht ganz verstehe, ist, hier steht Feuerresistenz, aber die Erdresistenz ist mehr als Feuerresistenz, aber okay. So, vielleicht sollten wir nochmal ein paar Pfeile einkaufen gehen. Weil wir haben ja relativ viel Geld jetzt noch. Obwohl ich gehofft habe, dass wir vielleicht in Silbertal irgendwie einen Ort finden. Alter. Dass wir da vielleicht irgendwie einen Ort finden, wo wir was kaufen können, aber scheint noch nicht so zu sein. Niederschlagpfeil, brauchen wir die? Ja, verlangsamter Pfeil brauchen wir jetzt eigentlich nicht unbedingt. Giftwolkenpfeil. Nehmen wir davon mal so die Hälfte. Ja, die Fähigkeiten brauchen wir jetzt eigentlich nicht unbedingt, deswegen lassen wir die erstmal. So, die will 700 dafür. Ja, so passt schon. Wie viel Geld wir schon haben? 12.000. Ja, sonst brauchen wir, glaube ich, nichts. Ja gut, Wasserpfeile, ne? Könnten auch nicht schlecht sein. Ja, wie gesagt, die Sachen lassen wir erstmal. So, 100 willst du dafür? Ja. So, jetzt können wir hier eigentlich schon die Sachen einmal ausrüsten lassen. 77 bis 137. Mal gucken, ob die was Besseres hat oder nicht. Nee, die hat was Besseres. Das macht keinen Sinn. Aber ich will das eigentlich trotzdem behalten, weil das ist schon so ein kleines Andenken. Können wir erstmal behalten. Aber der hat eigentlich auch relativ viel Ramsch noch hier. Können wir auch noch verkaufen. $1204. Oh. So, dann würde ich sagen, noch jemand zum Ausrüsten sonst? Ja, können wir dem mal geben. Das können wir der geben. Das behalten wir und das können wir auch behalten. Ja. verlangsamt. So, dann würde ich erstmal zur Legion gehen nochmal. Aufgabe abschließen. Ob wir die überhaupt abschließen können, aber ich glaube schon, weil diese Kirchenaufgabe, die war ja noch offen. Und die Kirche haben wir jetzt abgeschlossen. Deswegen gehe ich einfach mal davon aus, dass wir das machen können. Dann müssen wir erstmal zu dieser hier. Wer ist die? Selenia. Hallo? Ja. Ah, jetzt. Lasst uns über die Untoten sprechen.
This cannot be. Can it? Hope breaks through after. To think, Cyseal is in your debt, Hunter. I, and the Legion too. Brachus Rex is dead, and no one but you could have done this glorious deed. So I did. The Pact of Volunteers. Many Legionnaires will do whatever it takes to go home, which is why the chances of survival during these sorties are only about... I shall be very glad to share what information I can, by all means.
Alte Kirche.
For 2 years, all news has been bad news. Still, I thank you for telling me, Source Hunter. Knowledge is my Legionnaires. They all... Crikey! So, there truly were...
Gut, ein bisschen EP haben wir ja bekommen, aber immer noch nicht genug, um Level Up zu bekommen. Deswegen ab nach Silbertal. Ich würde mir auch langsam mal wünschen, dass wir hier irgendwie so einen kleinen... Ja, wie so Genres haben, wo wir zum Beispiel hier Cyseal haben, wo wir dann Silbertal haben, weil jetzt ist hier alles so ein bisschen viel langsam. Muss man immer ein bisschen suchen. Wo ist denn... Hier, ja, oder hier war Heim. ᴳᴱᴿᴹᴬᴺ, ne? Gehen wir erstmal Hütte der weißen Hexe. Ich glaube, hier sollten die Gegner noch relativ einfach sein. Haben wir die Truhe noch gar nicht entdeckt. Nehmen wir mal mit, können wir ja auch wieder verkaufen dann. Was haben wir denn hier noch so jetzt großartig? Haben wir denn noch irgendwelche Orte unentdeckt? Was ist das? Silbertal. Ah, das ist dann jetzt die Stadt, oder wie? Ah. Warte mal, da müssen wir jetzt rechts, links und dann sind wir eigentlich schon da. Also eigentlich sollte das relativ einfach zu erreichen sein. Aber müssen wir hier runter, ja? Ich speichere mal kurz vorsichtshalber. Oh, nö.
What was that? A bandit? Oh no. It's nothing but a squirrel. Oh God. Dear, oh dear.
You there? Your night ship? Oh, please, come to our aid. My wife and I are stranded here.
Okay.
Oh, we're refugees, my liege. Two of the far too few souls that managed to escape Hunter's Edge when the orcs invaded. We were hoping to reach Silverglen, but we were attacked by highwaymen. Those devils would have scalped and skewered us if it hadn't been for Alfie. Oh, the brave creature bit one of them in half.
Das kriegen wir hin.
Not before being frightfully wounded himself.
Ich hoffe, wir können das Vieh heilen, ohne dass es jetzt irgendwie als Angriff gezählt wird oder so, weil ich traue dem Ding nicht so wirklich.
Oh, it was naught but a small stop for trading folk along the long road south to Cyseal. Well, we got along all right, but now our little home's finally been undone. Orcs invaded, and the source hunter who was meant to protect us didn't save a one of us.
Alfie.
Bravest beast of burden in the borough is Alfie, but the poor blighter's bleeding like a stuck pig and can't move no more. Which means we can't move no more either. Why, it would be folly to abandon a bandit killer in a wood full of bandits now, wouldn't it, your night ship? Besides, all our worldly wealth is strapped to his back. And yet, we can hardly stay here forever. Silverglen is close enough to see the chimney fumes from here. Mara absolutely refuses to leave Alfie's side, and like I said, I'm inclined to agree with her. If only a stout champion would step up.
Was hat der denn erstmal zu handeln? Gar nichts, ja wohl.
Oh, we'd be mighty grateful if you would escort us to Silverglen, your knightship. For it is our aim to set up shop there.
Also bevor ich
In a new town.
Bevor die jetzt losrennen, möchte ich das Vieh erstmal heilen.
Without Alfie, though, without the tools he carries, I'd be like a fisherman without his rod, grasping for salmon with his bare hands. Never. Our predicament is clear, and the biggest problem is that Alfie's wounds are so dire, no ordinary healing potion will work. He needs...
Hey, ich kann den doch auch heilen, oder
I
nicht?
don't know what he needs, but they say miracle cures are produced by the...
Warte mal. Erstmal speichere ich, man weiß ja nie. Oh. Was hat der denn hier so für Schaden? Ja, aber der hat jetzt nicht irgendwie, dass er blutet oder so, ne?
Don't you worry, my sweet. We've outrun the orcs and we'll outrun these highwaymen too.
Oh, I hope so, my love. But with Alfie wounded so, what can we possibly do?
A solution will present itself. No, no! You're hurting him, Sir Knight. Oh, no wizard's tricks will cure poor Alfie.
Wieso?
Well, that needs a pinch of salt. Needs any discernible flavor, really.
Gut, dass wir gespeichert haben, aber... Hä? Ja, supi.
I knew that man, comrade. A fine blacksmith, Bjorn. It gladdens me more than you can imagine to see he and Mara escaped Hunter's Edge. But it's no wonder he blames me for what happened there. Well, it started like any other day, comrade. I told you before, and this much was true. Hunter's Edge was a quiet place. There hadn't been a peep from the Phantom Forest in nearly a century, and save the occasional drunken orc wandering in from the west, there was nothing for any of the townsfolk to fear. I was on patrol one sunny afternoon when I stumbled upon a pair of scrawny orcs building a fire. Bellowed at them to get, but they went for their swords instead. Well, I made short work of them, but I couldn't find their tribe insignia anywhere. What I did find was a deep red, apple-sized gemstone in one of their pockets. It was warm in my hand and seemed far too fine a treasure to belong to an orc.
Blutstein.
You and I both know that now, but then my senses were dulled by years of peace. I'd grown soft. I was foolish. I figured it to be an oversized ruby, and it was the worst misjudgment of my life, comrade. Their kind never did take a shine to such finery, so I assumed it had been stolen for its trading value. I pocketed the gem and planned on sending it up to Academy North for the Order to deal with. All was peaceful back at the village, all was quiet. If only I'd known then. If only I had paid attention, had seen the signs. Night had only just begun to fall when they surrounded us. It could only have been a few dozen, but they swarmed like hundreds. Those of us who resisted were immediately cut down. I watched the blood of innocent villagers spill into the streets. I saw their bodies hit the ground. People it was my job to protect, comrade. I made myself promise that night, comrade. Never again would I let another sign of source pass me by unnoticed. Never again would I fail in my sworn duty. It's a promise I intend to keep. Let's discuss it another time, comrade. It ain't easy for an old bear like me to greet these ghosts. For now, maybe we ought to soldier forward. Plenty to be done around these parts, eh? Ready to advance? Ready to defend?
Ja, würde ich sagen, müssen wir wohl nach Silbertal kommen irgendwie.
What do you say, your knightship? Will you escort us to Silver Glen? Oh, we are, my liege. Though, like I said, it would grieve us dearly to leave Alfie.
You're right. We should try to heal Alfie first.
Indeed. He carries your belongings after all.
I'm glad you've agreed Alfie needs to be saved before we can depart. Please leave no stone unturned in your search for a concoction that will heal his wounds.
I need a moment to reflect.
Cool.
was that?
It does feel quite good to give of oneself to those in need.
Your generosity honors our esteemed order.
Oh, how good it is to see a human face in these odious woods filled with nightmares come real. Do forgive me if I seem a bit bedraggled, but we've had a frightful time of it of late. My husband Bjorn's a blacksmith, of some renown as a matter of fact. A favourite with the legionnaires that passed through Hunter's Edge. Or used to, I should say. He hasn't a head for business though, and that's where I come in. We made a good living, he and I, in that quiet little town. Orc plunder now. Oh, I do hope you can heal dear Alfie. He deserves every care he can get after saving us so valiantly. Or perhaps he was just hungry. Still, the result is the same, isn't it? What is there left to say, really? I could tell you it's more wholesome than Sicile, but then the orcs came. I could tell you it's cozy, that the people there are nice,
Ach, die können wir bestimmt
but
plätten.
then the orcs came. All you'll find there now are broken dreams and broken bodies around orcish bonfires. Hunter's Edge? It no longer exists.
Ja, wie heilen wir den denn jetzt am besten? Angeblich soll es ja hier eine Heilerin geben, ne? In Silbertal. Wollen wir mal gucken. Wo müssen wir denn da hin? Ne? Einfach geradeaus und dann rechts, okay. Hier links, was ist da? Ach, hier kommen wir wieder hoch dann. Kaninchenbau. Bestimmt eine Hasenpfote, ne?
What have you got stashed in here, Mrs. Cottontail?
Was haben wir denn hier? Ich hoffe nicht, dass das wieder irgend so ein Portal ist jetzt.
Stop for death, or it will stop for you. Oblige death now, for it obliges you. Tell me, traveler, do you wish to die? And how will you die, then? Do you wish for a long courtship with the Reaper, or for a quick and wild affair? Death creeps, tests, nuzzles, withdraws, pursues, torments, and takes you.
Oh no! Nein.
Stop for death, or death sends its finest carriage for you. Yet you deign to step inside? An insult, yes, but unhappy. Stop for death, or it will stop for you. Oblige
Ja, was habe ich denn? Was macht das denn für einen Sinn?
Death fly.
Jetzt mal ehrlich, was hat man davon? Ah, hier haben wir Silbertal. Ich würde sagen, gehen wir da erstmal rein jetzt.
In the name of the goddess, halt! Who goes there? A wanderer, you say? A lost sheep, perhaps, that has found its flock. The stable of Immaculates. Why, it's Silverglen, of course. Once the abode of miners, now the abode of the faithful. We have traded the search for silver for the pursuit of divinity. I'm sure this sounds strange in what are strangers' ears, but you must know that but a short while ago, a frightful sickness felled us by the dozen, until she who speaks for the goddess brought us a cure. She showed us how we may overcome the frailty and even the decrepitude of our mortal bodies. This is why we now live a life of devoutness and civility, so that we may become immaculate.
Warum wollen die Makellose werden?
But I suggest you talk to Father Loik if you want to learn more about the ways of the goddess. Be welcome, therefore, to Silverglen. Blessed be all immaculates.
Puh.
May the goddess guide you through the forest and keep you safe.
The Immaculates here seem to be a friendly enough bunch.
Seen being the operative word. Let's remain vigilant.
As you know, I once carried the burden of disease upon emaciated shoulders. Perhaps I had, and so let the... I assume you address me for a... And so let the...
Ja, ja. Aber hier kann man eigentlich nichts klauen, ne? Alter, nicht er schon wieder. Verfolgt er mich? Ich will doch einfach nur ein bisschen kaufen und verkaufen. Jetzt muss ich erstmal wieder labern. Wo ist der Typ denn jetzt? Ja, dann renn halt nicht immer weg.
Source Hunter, you've made it into the hamlet of Silverglen, I see. Unnerving spot, don't you find? Leandra has fashioned herself a hero here, but the townsfolk don't seem to know the truth behind the conduit, though they call themselves Immaculates. They're thick as trout, if you ask me, and unnaturally obsessed with ancient teachings. I haven't seen Leandra here myself, but she must have put on quite a show of magical mastery to enthrall a crowd of shaggy miners, to have them hop on the bandwagon of a shadowy religion wholly alien to them. Haven't you heard them whisper of the blood? How their eyes shine when they discuss certain stellar stones? Star stones, of course, which drenched in blood become bloodstones and are used in healing rituals.
Also die wollen Blutsteine haben. Habe ich doch sogar einen von.
Now I can see how it could be a fantastic thing to nurse a dying human back to health, if all it takes is to sacrifice a toad. But I spy bloodlust in these people's eyes. A bloodlust that goes beyond the usual meaning of the word. They all act like they're following a benign goddess that will lead them to paradise. But I'll be a dappled Dalmatian if any of that is true. I've been shadowing the local priest, a man by the name of Loik. I have the feeling he knows more than most in Silverglen, for I followed him in the night when he meets with cloaked strangers, and goblins even. Mangoth, Hyberheim, of strange things I've heard him whisper. Yes, this priest has shady goings-on written all over that smug, holier-than-thou face of his. But we must start at the beginning, Source Hunter. The White Witch is still at large. If we want to get to the true heart of Leandra's doings, we must start with her sister. And she's far likelier to be in her cabin among the trees than here among Leandra's followers.
Eben nicht.
The advantage of being a puss, my friend, is that one can pussyfoot. A white-haired wizard draws attention, but a cat can move about unnoticed and, indeed, unseen. Not that I'm not extra wary of these bloodsuckers, though. There's a conspicuous absence of pets in this eerie little town. The Immaculate's presence here is highly disconcerting. But we mustn't lose sight of our mission, Source Hunter. The White Witch resides somewhere in the wilds of the surrounding forest, and we must find her.
Die ist doch in Hyberheim angeblich, in diesem Gefängnis da.
Blessed be the goddess, and blessed be
Oh, das ist
the
Leuk.
conduit.
Welcome be, O seeking souls, to this holy house of immaculates.
Give me the strength, O goddess, to become enlightened.
I am Loic, enlightened one among immaculates, spokesman for the holy conduit, as she is spokesman for the goddess herself. Hers is the blood. Then it shall be my pleasure to answer them. We are the chosen ones of the goddess. The benedictions of the blood render our bodies and spirits unblemished, for such is her mercy, that we may all become part of the sacred soul. And you too, Seeker, could become one such part.
Ich soll selber so einer werden, okay.
You find yourself in the goddess's temple. Therefore it follows she wants you to take the true path. So here, have this hallowed tome. Read it. Absorb the wisdom within. Then find the second part and do with it the same. If any, do you hold it to be true, O Seeker, that you are ready to be tested? A most sacred trio of queries shall I put before thee. But even if thou falterest but a sin, your unpreparedness disappoints me. But the conduit, yes. She, the most exalted of all, second only to the goddess. It was she who brought us first her divine words, then her divine will, a will made real in blood.
Ja, komm.
Truly, though, she is...
Lul.
Give me the strength, O goddess, to become enlightened.
Habe ich keine Dietriche mehr?
Let me spill blood for thee, O Holy One!
Habe ich anscheinend doch nicht mehr, hä? Ich hatte doch so viele. Cheat. Na gut, dann werden wir später erstmal in den Keller gehen.